So recently, a friend of mine told me about this app called Yuka, Yuka. It's a food app. Basically, you go to the grocery store, you scan food, you scan whatever your favorite foods are. I mean, this is for people that are health conscious, that care about what goes in their body. So if you don't care about what goes in your body, this is not for you. But for people that care about what goes in their body, you can scan the foods or drinks, even hair products. I think hair products, lotions, whatever goes on the body or in the body, you can scan that, and it'll tell you if it's good for you or not. It'll come up with a green dot that says good, or sometimes it'll come up with a green dot. My wife, she drinks bubbly. She loves bubbly. I gave a friend of mine a bubbly one time when he was over here. He scanned it, and it came up excellent. And I was like, oh shoot, yo, so fridge is stocked up with bubblies now. I'm so glad he put me on with this app. Yo, this app is fire. Anyhow, there's these ice pops, yo. These ice pops smack with so much smacknacity. Like, I got these at the Walmart grocery market. I don't know if they sell them at the regular Walmart stores. I don't know if they sell them at Whole Foods. I don't know. If you're interested, you could probably Google them and it'll tell you where near you they sell these ice pops if you want to try them. These ice pops smack. First of all, ice pops, that's like a summertime thing. Like that's a classic, kid snack. Yo, ice pops was the thing. But these here, they are all natural fruit. These are like real fruits converted into ice pops. It's all organic and it's completely healthy. It's completely healthy. I scanned it on the Yuka app. Got the barcode right there. Yo, I scanned it. That thing came up. I don't know if it said good or if it said excellent, but it came up green. So it was one of the two. So I was like, okay, cool. It probably was good because it's got some sugar in it. Let me see. 5 grams of sugars, but I don't know how they're calculating like what's good or what's not. So I don't know. It came up good though. I just know it came up green. So I was like, cool, yo, and it's organic. Yeah, I'm freaking with that. And I'm gonna tell you what did not come up good is actually, no, I'm not gonna do that, yo. I don't want to get in trouble later on down the road for like bashing the industry, you know what I'm saying? But surprisingly, you'd be surprised some of the stuff that comes up good. Like, it's not just organic, all natural stuff that comes up good. Like, I was surprised. I scanned a Snickers bar. I love Snickers. I scanned a Snicker bar. Snicker bar came up good. I was like, oh snap. Because like all the other candies did not come up good. And what I love about the app is it'll tell you why something's not good. Like, it'll say, if you click on, if it comes up bad or if it comes up poor, you can click on that. You can click on good too, but if it's good, it's good. So if it comes up bad or comes up poor, you can click on it and it'll tell you, oh, it's bad because of sodium, a lot of sodium, or sugar, a lot of sugar. And then with some stuff like that, use your own discretion. Like, can you afford the extra calories at this current juncture where you are right now? Sometimes it'll come up bad and it'll be because of additives, food additives, like food coloring, dyes, or these big word additives, triple live floss. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like some crazy, hard to pronounce big word, but you can click on it and it'll tell you again, oh yeah, this is why it's bad. This additive causes ADHD in young children, or this additive has been known to cause cancer. That's the common. This additive has been known to cause eczema, skin irritation, alopecia. Like, it'll tell you, and then it's like, you know what? Nah, I ain't freaking with those. Anyhow, my Saratoga water. I love Saratoga water. Saratoga water be hitting ice cold. I like water cold. I like water cold, and I like it in glass. I don't do the plastic anymore because of the BPA and what have you, but I'll do a whole, actually, I don't know that I'll do a whole health podcast because I'm not a health professional. I just do what works for me. So you want a health professional? There's this dude, Sean Stevenson. Yo, Sean Stevenson know what he talking about. He got a book. They used to sell it at Target. I don't know if they still sell it. It's called Eat Smarter. Like, his story's inspiring, first of all, but that's a whole nother topic of discussion for another. Actually, you know what? I might have enough time. So I'll just briefly say, because I just cleared out some memory in my phone. So I'm looking at, but then again, it's showing the timer. So anytime my phone shows the timer, that's like an indicator. Like, you got about a good hour. So you better get what you got to say in 1 hour. So I got to be quick. But yeah, I'll talk about Sean Stevenson another time. Right now, it's Sunday morning. Sunday morning is an absolute vibe. I believe Sunday morning is like the most peaceful day of the week. It's so, like, I always told people, the Friday night going into Saturday, that sleep hits different. You know, it hits different knowing, for the most part, for people that this applies to, you don't have to wake up tomorrow. Like, when you go to sleep on Friday night, it hits different. But then going to sleep on Saturday night and then not having to wake up on Sunday, that hits different too. If you're not, when I say not having to wake up, like if you're not obligated as a result of like someone else subjecting you to some type of obligation, that sleep hits different. But Sunday mornings, I still maintain my routine. I get up. I went running this morning. I got up this morning at 5 o'clock. Got up at 5 o'clock and yeah, I went running. And I feel so relaxed right now. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, Sunday mornings be hitting. But anyhow, a friend of mine hit me up this morning and he asked me if I knew anything like regarding, if I knew of a good side hustle, side gig he could get into. So I started telling him about this app called Thumbtack. I wrote this long paragraph explaining Thumbtack, and I'm like, you know what? Let me make a podcast, or let me talk about that on the podcast in case anybody else is looking for like some side hustle work, you know, and they want, or maybe you want to start up your own business. And I'm self-employed, so you know this is a good way to start your own business. But yeah, basically, so Thumbtack, it's actually Thumbtack Pro. Thumbtack Pro, it's an app. So how it works is, you know, you create your profile. You got to do a background check. Yeah, it takes like a day. It's quick. They might even push it through the same day now. I don't know. I've not been on Thumbtack in so long. I got blackballed from Thumbtack, yo. Don't do what I did, all right? I'll tell you about that in a second. But yeah, I got blackballed from Thumbtack. Like Thumbtack, like, yo, you can never use our platform again, all right? You know what I mean? Like, but hey, Thumbtack was a vibe, yo. I still mess with Thumbtack, you know, because if I could, I would still mess with Thumbtack, because Thumbtack freaking, oh my gosh, I met so many people through Thumbtack and got so many great gigs through Thumbtack. So basically, you create a profile and they've got all kind of gigs on there. Like they've got, for whatever you do, you type in whatever it is you do, everything's prompted. Like you type in speaking, for example, and all these different type of speaking gigs will come up, and then you can click on whatever. But me, I did handyman work, like, which is how I got started in forming my own business, from just simple little baby handy jobs to full home remodeling. That's why I said Thumbtack is that app, yo. I freak with Thumbtack. But yeah, when I started, I was telling a friend of mine, I said, the way it works, you know, you for example, I clicked toilet installation, and then you create your own prices. So for me, when I started, I was doing toilets for $80. Okay, one toilet, $80. So the customers, they reach out to you. They're looking for people to perform certain services, and they might type in on their end toilet installer, and then you pop up along with a list of other people, and then they can look at your profile. They can see the ratings, the reviews, if you have any. They can see your pictures if you have any pictures of your work, and they click on you and select you. So when somebody reaches out to you, they're already aware of your prices. All right, they already know based off what you've specified that you can do. Hey, this person can install toilets. This person can mount TVs. This person, whatever it is, they already know. So there's no like, you know, you got to try and win them. Now they reach out to you, and then that's when you get charged. That's the important part. All right, this is why I got blackballed. But that's when you get charged. You get charged per lead. So whatever the lead is. So for example, like I said, I did, and I did a whole number of things, but I'm just using the toilet. I'm just going to stick with that example for now. $80 per toilet. That lead probably cost me like $6, I think. All right, cool. You know, it's all fine and good. You know, take out that little $6. I'm about to go make $160. They got me putting 2 toilets in. The leads work based off, the leads get charged based off what amounts you have set for the task you're willing to complete, basically. So like a friend of mine was telling me when he got on Thumbtack, he was pissed, yo, because he put on there that he could redo an entire AC system, and I think the price point was like 4G. So the lead was like $75. He's like, man, they taking $75 out of my account. That's why I got blackballed. I got blackballed because this is the good with the bad, you know. But I think, like, looking back, the good outweighed the bad, because you're gonna make more with those. Because here's the thing, you also get to charge the customers cash. Like, you don't have to pay. They don't have to pay through the app. It's up to you. Once that's your customer, that's your customer. You're gonna pay Thumbtack for the lead, but you only pay for the leads that reach out to you, or you reach out to people that. And here's another thing: if you reach out to somebody and they don't respond, you don't get charged for that lead. There was no connection made. You get charged when there's a connection made. So I mean, Thumbtack is reasonable, but yeah, when them leads, and some people say they believe it was bots. Maybe it was bots. I mean, there was a point in time where I was using it and I felt like I kept getting charged for all these leads, and they wouldn't respond. And I'm reaching out to Thumbtack like, yo, what's up? Yo, these people didn't respond, you know. So what I did was I called my bank. I said, hey, these transactions are unauthorized. And you know, the bank did what they did. Thumbtack found out. Thumbtack hit me out. They said, hey, listen, you can't never use our platform again. So yeah, if you're going to use it at your own discretion. You know, just know that they gonna charge for them leads. Them leads are gonna be taken out your bank account. But yeah, it's a great app. Like I said, oh my gosh. And you can do it anywhere. Like, when I first started using Thumbtack, this was back in 2018. There was also this app called Tackle. I used to love Tackle. Oh my gosh, yo, Tackle was this app where it was just odd jobs. Same thing with Thumbtack, it's odd jobs. But the difference is with Tackle, the prices are already established. So there's no, like, you got to reach out to the customer and all. Like, the app does all that for you. Like, the app connects you with people, and then if they pick you, cool, they pick you. There's no phone call that needs to be made. Matter of fact, I don't even think you could make a phone call until the day of the job. When you clicked en route, then it gave the option if you needed to reach out to the customer. But the phone calls were recorded, I think, through the Tackle app. So it was like, yeah, it wasn't no taking them leads unless when you got to the job, you know, after, you know, y'all exchange numbers privately and whatnot. But with Tackle, like I said, the prices were already established. So it'd be like, you'd see a job come up, mount a TV, $75 plus $24.95. Sometimes, like, they'll have these, like, add-on fees. I don't know what the add-on fees were for, but it was one job one time that popped up. It was a $90 job with a $5 add-on fee. It was for an elderly woman. It was to move a package. She had received a package at her front door that was too heavy for her. It was just to simply move that package from the front to the back porch. It was a $95. I'm like, yo, let me get that. I'm clicking on the joint. Like, some of the gigs, some of the jobs that used to come up on Tackle was like, yo, are you serious? Like, I remember one of the easiest ones I did was cutting a tree, and it's a thin tree. It was a thin tree, like a similar to how a Christmas palm is. Real thin, real narrow tree. And you take a hacksaw, put a couple strokes in, that thing is done. So there was a tree that was in these people's yard, small little narrow tree, but it was obstructing the view from their window. And I think it was like $150 just to remove that tree. I'm like, yo, let me get that. That was the quickest $150 I made during that time. Like, yo, what? Hacksaw that joint right quick, put that in the back of the truck, we out. Tackle had some cool jobs, like, that would just pop. Random jobs. There'd be a lot of house cleaning jobs, a lot of, you know what, let me stop reminiscing on the past. Thumbtack, you could do all the same jobs. Like, there's different, it's all prompted. You've got house cleaning. If you want to do house cleaning, you just type it in. If you want to do handyman work, you type it in, handiwork. And then there's like different, like I said, installing toilet, plumb. Actually, it is prompted, but you've got to type stuff in. You do have to type stuff in first. So like toilet repair, and then it'll give you options like install toilet, and you click on it. Garbage disposal repair / installation. You know, you put it in, that'll come up as a prompt. You click on it, and it'll say like, how much do you charge to install a garbage disposal? You know, you can put whatever your price point is. This way, once the customers see you come up as a pro, your prices are already established. Like there's no guesswork for them or you. There's no awkward. You get to the job and you do the entire job, and then afterwards you gotta like tell them like 150 and hope that they'll agree to pay that. That's the wrong way to go about jobs. But I mean, for some people it be like that, you know, where it's like, let me sticker shock you at the end after the job is done and hope that you'll pay. Yeah, it's already done. Like the hard work is already done as far as negotiating price point. No, there's no negotiation. It's like, yo, you agreed to hire me. You agreed to hire me at this price. It's documented. It's already done. You know what I mean? So you got to pay this price. But yeah, they got all kind of jobs on Thumbtack. They got like the friend of mine that I'm talking about. He's a speaker. They got speaking jobs on there. I've never gone deep to tell you like how that's prompted or anything, because the jobs that I've done have been like handiwork, mountain TVs. Like I would always like to do the quick in and out stuff, the easy stuff. You know what I mean? Mount a TV right quick, a quick little $150, $250. You know, move the power cord or something. Freaking install a garbage disposal, clean out a dryer vent, put up blinds, put up pictures, you know, picture hanging, like $25 per picture or $30 per picture, you know. And then they also, it gets intricate with some stuff. Excuse me, is that the word? I don't know. It gets more detailed with some stuff, like TV mounting, for example. It'll say, you know, you can charge more for mounting on or it'll prompt you like, do you charge more, or how much more do you charge to mount on a concrete surface? How much more do you charge to mount TVs over 55 inches? And this way people know. People are not, you know, they're not getting surprised. And it's a great app, yo. I met some cool people through that app. I met this millionaire one time, Tim, this dude, and he was willing to take me under his wing. But at the time, I wasn't in that mindset of like, I'd never been exposed to that, to even know how to be in that mindset. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like he was like, listen, I'll take you under my wing and I'll teach you everything I know. But once I see that you're not serious, I'll drop you like that. And it was a cool experience for me because it was the first time I had done a job, and it took me like all of like 4 hours to do the job, to do the physical work. It was easy stuff. We're moving furniture around. He just got this brand new house, $1 million home, yo. He's got cultured stone in the front. He's got people there doing, you know, tile work. He's got this area upstairs that's got like a secret compartment. He's got all these guitars hanging on the wall and on a stone wall. And then the guitar at the end, it's a red one. And you pull the guitar back. It's a secret room. Like this was a cool house. He had a swimming pool in the back. And like, I didn't even know this neighborhood existed. It was in the most random place. I'm like, yo, they got places like this in North St. Pete. Like, yo, this is crazy. But yeah, it was the first time that I had, and I had a partner with me too. I learned a valuable lesson from this dude that day, this dude Tim, because I had a partner with me that day. Again, this is back. I'm just starting, so I'm going through all the growing pains. I'm learning everything. But yeah, it was the first time that I had made, and he encouraged me. He was like, listen, you got to charge for your labor. You got to charge for what you do. I mean, he's schooling me the whole time as I'm working. And it was like he wanted me to get the lesson. So when it came time to charge, I was like, and I was doing piecework at the time, like Thumbtack. I'm thinking, okay, you know, $75 to put a bed frame. So I'm adding up all the piecework, and it only took me like 5 hours. And he was like, how much? And I timidly said, $1,000. And I was like nervous. And then he was like, okay. And I was like, yo, like what? I just made a G in 5 hours for the first time in my life. Like, I'm like, yo, that opened up a whole new room of thought. Like, oh my God, like this is crazy. So what I did was I gave my partner $400. And then the dude asked me to come back to his house the next day. My bad, I just segued into a story. This is gonna be quick, but dude asked me to come to his house the next day. So I came back because I'm like, yo, man, my man, he gave me a G yesterday. Like, if I can make another G today, what? So I came back the next day. He asked me, my partner didn't show up, and he was like, "Where's your partner?" I was like, "This dude partied all night, took the money, partied all night, and was asleep the next morning." He's like, after he told me, yeah, he'll be there. Told the dude, I told the dude Tim, I said, yeah, he slept in. I forgot what I told him. I said, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get an answer when I called him this morning. I can't remember what I told him, but he was like, you would think, like, after him having made all that money yesterday, he'd want to come back and make more. And he was like, did you pay him? I was like, yeah, I paid him. He's like, how much did you pay him? I told him. And he was like, you should have only paid him by the hour, because he's not your partner. You know, you and I, we spoke. You and I, we negotiated. We made the connection. All he was a day labor you hired. So you should have gave him a little $20 an hour. That's more than he's making working at Chili's. I'm like, damn, I didn't, I wasn't. He's like, it's all good. It's all good. He's like, did you go to college? I was like, yeah. He was like, you paid for your education, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, same thing. You just paid for your education. Like, yeah, that's true, yo. Yeah, it was a $400 lesson. I was doing a job recently with a guy, and we're working on this home that it's a $6.6 million home. So we're doing woodwork. We're removing varnish. We're removing clear coat and stain and restain it. So hired a guy, showing him what to do. It's not the quickest method, but I told him it's the cleanest method. All right, because we want to make sure we take our time with this. It's a $6.6 million house. All right, so we really want to take our time. So I was showing him take a heat gun, took a heat gun and a putty knife. Said heat the clear coat, heat the varnish, heat all that. You'll see it start to bubble, and then you just take that putty knife, follow the heat gun, and it just smooth like butter. I showed him how to do it. He was like, all right, cool. So I left him to do it. You know, I'm editing videos. I'm editing podcast videos. He's doing the work. I'm editing videos. I come back and I'm like, he's flying through it. I mean, he's taking meat chunks out the wood. He's trying to scrape it all. He's getting frustrated. He's like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, yo, calm down. Like, hold on. First of all, what we're doing, you can't be doing it that fast, man, because you're going against the grain. All right. And anytime you go against the grain, you take your time. You know, if you was getting your hair cut by a barber and he started going against the grain, you wouldn't want him flying over your head against the grain, because if that guard slips off, you're going to F around and find out. So you got to take your time. All right. You're going against the grain, trying something new, doing something new. It's the same principle. You're going against the grain. You're going against the norm. You're going against the beaten path. So you got to take your time. You can't expect things to just happen all of a sudden just because you're trying something new. Yeah, it's exciting to try something new, but there's a process, and that process demands respect. You gotta have, and you know, and that's another thing I realized. Physical labor, like tedious physical labor, like what I was describing, you know, peeling paint. It could be something like detailing a car. That's something that I do not personally desire to apply my patience to. I'll tell somebody, like, I'll apply my patience to laying tiles. I'll apply my patience to you know, like I just described, peeling paint or painting. I love painting. Painting is so therapeutic for me. See this room, yo? I painted this. This is all me here. You know, I'll apply my patience to cutting hair. I'm in the middle of cutting my hair right now. Excuse the funkiness. You know, this is not, look, I would never go around those that matter looking like this. Yo. But here's the thing, those that matter don't mind. So it's all good. You know, so yeah, anytime you're doing something tedious or something that goes against the grain of the, you know, the norm, something that you got to take your time, you got to give respect. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I see why they say, you know, character is developed in like tedious work. You know, back in the day they used to say, you know, picking roots out the ground, raking leaves, like any type of tedious work, it develops character. And it's so true, because something like what I just described, where you're heating paint and clear coat, you want to remove it in the cleanest fashion possible. You got to take your time. So you have to develop patience. You got to develop respect for what it is you're doing. And there's a whole slew of other characteristics being developed subconsciously. But, you know, the two that I noticed with this example were patience and respect. Like, respect is huge, yo. Like that. I don't know, to me, like respect that's something that I'm big on. Like, yo, automobile accidents. I believe majority of automobile accidents are caused in some way or some form by a lack of respect. Cut in front of somebody, cut somebody off, you run a red light, you driving drunk, you're texting, you got Chick-fil-A, you eating, you dropped a nugget, you know what I'm saying, and you, without thinking, reach down to pick up the nugget. Now you crash. Like, majority of automobile accidents in some way or some form are caused due to a lack of respect. It's crazy how some people believe you don't have to give respect. Like, that's not what's said, but that's what's communicated in some of their movements. And it's necessary to give everyone respect. Like, I was telling somebody recently, I'm like, yo, yeah, don't be a hothead, man. Give people respect, yo. Like, I look at society like everybody fights. Like, everybody, there's so much knowledge out there now. Everybody is privy to the game. You don't know who knows what. So don't go with this mindset of like, oh, I'm a big tough dude, I'm hard, you know, and I'll take, you know, whoever I want. Like, back in the day, that mindset used to work. You know what I mean? People weren't as privy to information as they are now. But now, nah, yo, respect. Give everyone respect. You look at two professional fighters, for example, and both of them know, or both of them have this mindset, like two dogs that they just want to get it on. Like, two professional fighters, they both know going into the fight, like, yo, I believe I can beat him. But at the same time, I know he's trained just like I'm trained. And I know he can crack just like I can crack. So I gotta be respectful. That's why them first couple rounds in a fight, they give respect. You know, like, all right, hold on, let me take my time. Let me parry that. Let me, you know, kind of figure out the rhythm of this fighter, because even if I'm confident within myself I can beat him, I know that he's trained just like I'm trained. So I know that if I slip up and make the wrong move, my lights are out. So they give respect. Like, so it's like somebody who's supremely confident. If somebody like a professional fighter who's supremely confident knows how to give respect for their enemy, and they might not really be enemies, you know, but they're enemies in the ring. They're opponents in the ring, not enemies. That's harsh, but they're opponents in the ring. They can give respect to their opponent. All right, their intention is to beat their opponent, to put them down. And some boxers have more intent, or worse intention than others. Some people have a worse intention of their opponent than others, but they still know how to give respect. Respect is huge. Yeah, so while I'm running, I listen to this app. It's a mental, basically a mental diet, a mental food in a sense. It's this app called Mindset, and it's got different speakers on there. You know, Les Brown, Jocko Willink, David Goggins, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, anybody big. Oprah Winfrey is on there, T.D. Jakes, Michelle Obama, Jay Shetty, Jordan Peterson, who else? And this guy, or Mel Robbins, all kind, like anybody who speaks. Like, I'm trying to get on there. Like, I want to get on that level, yo, because I listen to how speakers speak now. It's like one of the things I realize, it's so true what they say, like your gift. All right, and this, I mean, multiple sources say this, you know, like it's a biblical thing, you know, where everybody's birthed with talents. You know, to the man that was given 2 talents, he multiplied it, made it 4, you know. For those that know that story, you know that story or that parable. So I realized, I think T.D. Jakes said this. He said that your gifts, I don't know if it was T.D. Jakes or if it was Steve Harvey. Somebody said this, that your gifts are tied. Maybe it was Miles Monroe. I don't know. But somebody said your gifts are tied to something that you used to do when you were like 7 years old. Perfect number, the number of perfection, right? Between like 6 and 9 years old. So I think it was something around that field. So I'm thinking like, okay, I was brought up in church all my life. So I used to always look at the drummer. I would always watch the drummer. Like, I wanted to play drums. That's one of my gifts. I would always look at the preacher, and I wouldn't necessarily be listening to what he's saying, because I'm a kid. I'm not understanding it, but I would look at the energy of how he's saying it. He's jumping around and So when we were younger, we used to play church. I would always be the preacher. So speaking was always one of my talents or one of my gifts. I would watch my father work out a lot. And he'd have a stack of bodybuilding magazines. I would look at the bodybuilding magazines, and me and my brother, we was young. I remember like being 9 years old. We in the garage lifting the dumbbells and whatnot, trying to be like Pops. That's more of a routine maintenance than a gift. But yeah, when I think about my gifts, okay, taking things apart and fixing them, that was something I always did as a kid. I would always tear stuff apart, but then fix it or create something new. So constructing, one of the things I do, I construct, I remodel homes, different things like tied to my past. I'm using myself as an example because I'm speaking. I can't speak on behalf of anyone else other than myself. So not to sound full of myself or anything like that. I'm just using myself as an example because I can only know me. So yeah, your gifts are tied to something you used to do as a child. And when I think back right now in this moment, those are the things I can remember doing as a child, like most. And my grandmother used to, oh yeah, you're gonna be a little pastor one day. That was always what was put on me. That was the ideology that was put on me. Like, so it was like you can only speak in that capacity. That's all I knew. I had this conversation with my son one time a while back, where I told him, I said, to you, being a child, life is new to you. To me, being a parent, parenting is new to me. So it's like a cup. You're only going to be able to pour out of this cup what's poured into this cup until something different's poured into this cup. So speaking was always a thing of mine, but I never knew then that I could speak in a capacity other than in front of a church congregation. Because it was like that was not a dream of mine. That was not to speak in front of a church congregation. Like that was not. I mean, at one point I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a pastor. Like I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? And I realize now, like, yeah, it was because it was all that was in my cup. It was all that I was indoctrinated. And I talk about this stuff a lot. I know it gets annoying. But like I said, That's Vital is the deconstructing of the miseducation of my indoctrination. So because that was all that was poured into my cup, that was all I believed was possible. It's just like a dead-end job or a job that's got a cap off. Like if your job only pays you $60,000 a year, that's it. That's as far as you can go. You might could get a low raise. You might could get to like 62, but that is it. So to me, that lifestyle of like always having a cap, it just never worked for me. Like I hated when they used to ask us the question in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know, because I could never see myself sitting there for 20, 30, 40 years doing the same ish every single day. Like that is the most miserable crap to me. Like I gotta break the routine, yo. I gotta break the routine. Like I talked about last episode, chops. I gotta have some chops to go with this groove. I'm a musician, so I'm gonna speak from the standpoint of a musician from time to time. It's good when you're in a good groove. It's good when things are flowing. Yo, money's coming in, freaking you're taking trips, life is good. You just like you going on Amazon, you shopping, you buying stuff on Amazon, you buying furniture, you taking trips to Home Goods constantly. Like it's good when you want a good groove. You want to maintain that good groove. When the groove is like or it's like, nah, yo, I'm not feeling this groove. You want to break that groove up with some chops. Something spontaneous to break the routine, a change. Anyhow, going back. So yeah, your gifts are tied to something that you did when you were younger. So where the frick was I going with that? With speaking, that was not something that I worked constantly towards doing. Like I just spoke to people. Like I never sought to do it in a large capacity. I never sought to do it like I'm doing now. I never sought to do podcasting or anything. I was just like, yo, if it had, it wasn't even a passion of mine. It was just like, yeah, this is just something that I knew I could do. I believed that I could do if I was willing to put the work in. Anyhow, that's beside the point. Now, because it's something that I enjoy, it's something that I love doing. When I'm listening to people speak, like, it's just like when I listen to drum covers and I'm just like, yo, buddy, a beast, yo. Like I do the same thing with how I critique people speaking. Like I'm just like, yo, dude could put that syntax together, yo. Like, yo, he nice with it, yo. And I'm just like, yo, I'm trying to get on that level, yo. Like, oh my gosh. Anyhow, so like I said, I was running this morning. I'm listening to the Mindset app, and this story, Les Brown comes on and he's telling a story about when he was 6 years old and how this man came to his house. He was a preacher from Mount Zion Baptist Church in Miami. He was a strapping tall man. He came to deliver food. They didn't have food for Christmas time. He was like, I want to be like that. I'm like, yo, I feel that. Then he tells this other story of these two kids who were playing in the snow, I guess in their neighborhood or near their house. And one of the kids, they were playing unbeknownst to them on a body of water or a pit of water. I don't know. It was frozen over water. So one of the kids, as they're playing, the ice breaks and he slips into the water, starts getting pulled by the undercurrent. So the other kid, in desperation, he sees a tree nearby. He grabs a branch from the tree and goes to beating the ice around his friend to create an opening to get his friend out. He's beating at it, and I'm putting more detail on it than he was, but this is the picture that came to mind as he's telling the story. The bigger point is the end of the story, the lesson. Anyhow, he gets his friend out. Paramedics arrive and they're asking questions. They're like, you know, how's this possible? Like this little frail, narrow kid was able to do what he did with a branch. Like this is a miracle. Like there's no, like how? They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't wrap their head around it. They're just like, how? And an old man that was standing nearby heard what was going on. He came over and he said, I could tell you exactly how. He said to them, he says, there was no one around to tell him that he couldn't. I was like, wow. And for some reason, shortly after hearing that, I'm still running. I'm on my 4th mile. The thought came to me, N-I-N. And for some reason, that thought came to me. I'm like, yo, it's crazy how many of us, all of us, ain't no many of us, all of us at some point in our lives are guilty of this, yo. It's everybody, but it's not always. So for many, it's you get in certain groups or around certain people and you have to put on a facade. You got to put on a mask. Somebody described it like that once a while back. It's like a mask gets put on. This front gets put on. Like I have to, when I'm around these people, I got to move like this. You know, when you go to work, for example, when you go to work, if you work for a company, a corporation, you're working for somebody else other than yourself, you have to move a certain way though. You got to put on the corporate walk. You got to put on the corporate speech and verbiage. You know, you got to speak in a corporate way. You have to conduct yourself in a way suitable for the corporation. Known or unbeknownst to yourself, like some level of facade has to be put on around certain individuals. I got to thinking, and I'm like, man, you know what's crazy is in doing that, what happens unbeknownst to ourselves is our authenticity sometimes gets suppressed, gets trapped inside. As within, so without. Earl Nightingale said that your life outside of you is a merciless reflection of who you are inside as an individual. If your authenticity is being trapped, being sheltered inside, it's not what's being reflected, what's being mirrored on the outside. The outside world reflects what's going on within, and vice versa. So if your authenticity is being sheltered, it's being trapped, it's being suppressed, and reasonably so for some circumstances, but you got to decide for yourself where it's necessary and not necessary to sacrifice authenticity if need be. But if it's being trapped, if it's being suppressed, if it's being, within, what's being shown on the outside is inauthenticity. The real authenticity is within. So what's being shown on the outside is inauthentic. It's not inauthentic if it's who you desire to be. Like there's a difference where like when you truly desire to be a certain way, you start moving in a certain way, be, and then that lifestyle comes to you. That's the process of becoming. You be who it is you want to be. You be what it is you want to be. You move in the best fashion that you can, and then over time you become that. Like I was talking about earlier with doing gigs on Thumbtack. Like I don't know what the frick I'm doing. My first job on Thumbtack, I was supposed to put in a ceiling fan. I know how to put in a ceiling fan. Cool. Or excuse me, not a ceiling fan, a light fixture. Just a simple light fixture. All right. But I didn't know electrical work. I'm not an electrician. I know black wire, white wire, cool. Right? So I get to the house and I put the wires in, I put the light in, but it's like flickering, it's dim and it's flickering. And unbeknownst to me, I found out it was an issue with the light switch. I'm thinking back now, it was probably just a loose wire, but at the time, I'm not an electrician. I don't know how to do this stuff. So I'm trying to, in a sense, be something that I'm not for a better cause. Newborn babies, parents, you come home from work, you're tired, you got a newborn, and it's like, yo, I don't feel like dealing with it right now. Like I'm exhausted. But when you see the baby, what do? Hi, baby, because you want to create an atmosphere for that baby. You want that baby to see that life is pleasant. You don't want the baby to see that life is miserable. And then the baby's precious. The baby's smiling, the baby's hopeful and optimistic, and you want to maintain those characteristics within the baby. So you're trying to create an atmosphere essentially, So it's not, in a sense, yeah, it is being inauthentic, but it's within reason, So there's, everything in life, there's a paradox for everything in life. Like there's always two sides of the spectrum. So inauthenticity can be a bad thing, but it also can be a good thing. And it's crazy. Like that's another thing that's like vital for me. Like what I'm realizing, like that's vital is seeing that there's a paradox in everything. There's no, like, I really believe there's no such thing as good or evil. Life is what you make of it. Some things that can be seen as bad or negative for some may not be seen in that way for others. Somebody who's listening that has a reasonable mind will understand what I just said, won't automatically go to, you trying to say that killing is okay, like some stupid crap. Like, come on, y'all, let's be reasonable. All right, this podcast is for reasonable, sound thinking individuals with their minds wide open. And if your mind's not open, if you just want to stay closed in a box, and cut it off. Go listen to something else. This ain't the podcast for you. You know what I'm saying? If you've got an open mind and if you're willing to hear a new perspective, iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? It may help your perspective. You might be inspired by something and leave something in the comments that inspires and helps my perspective on things. You know what I mean? So this is it's a growth thing, like you said.
Kind of dress you're wearing tonight, if he's giving it to you just right, the way I did before.
I overdosed, should've known your love was a game. Now I can't get you out of my brain.
Oh, it's such a shame that we don't talk anymore. We don't talk